bor Ping William Ato in Juba Malatori Ayam yo Ping William Ato in Benti Wala Kwaju Hey wow Ping William Ato in Malkal Wala Pinyaram Ping William
Thank you so much, our Leg State Media team in the studio. And to our viewers, wherever you are tuning in, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending with the time zone we are in. And today in the studio, we are hosting members of Parliament, the National Assembly, and they're here to discuss some of the few things in regard to the political affairs of our country. On the screen is Honorable Bol Agau. Honorable Bol Agau is a member of National Assembly representing N. Sorry, guys.
Daniel, welcome.
Yeah, welcome, Honorable Daniel Juol Nhomngok. Can you hear us?
Yes,
Yeah,
ini aku ting.
lakin
Ini aku ping ya.
Are you seeing me?
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you. Yeah, we can see you. All right. In the midst of the introduction, we have Honorable Juol Nhomngok, MP, representing SPLM-IO, Cueibet, and also Honorable Joseph Bol Agau is an MP as well, and is a chairperson, External Affairs Committee of NDM Party, Republic of South Sudan. While we are waiting before we start the show, the discussion or the interview of today is based on the speech of the president in the opening of the parliament, and before that, we want to start with the remarks the national MPs has made after the president's speech in the parliament, and from there we will kick up with our interview. Let's listen.
Was honest enough. He has pointed out some of the issues, like issues of youth employment. This has been where my interest has been. The youth employment in this country is a major issue that the government must pay attention to. And as a member of SPLM-IO, this is one of the reasons why I came to the opposition. I need the citizens of the country to benefit from the operation of the government. That was one of the issues which the president considered in his speech, the youth employment. Second, the issue of investment. The president did it, but one issue the president did not put into account was the issue of accountability, also corruption. Corruption in the country is everywhere. Why don't we talk about it and control it? It's everywhere up to the local government level, and we must fight it. If it means taking people to prosecute them in court, we must prosecute them. We need to activate the anti-corruption body, including coming up with anti-corruption code to prosecute everybody who is corrupt. So the president did not concentrate much on issue of accountability. Without accountability, the investment itself cannot go on. That is what I was expecting. Second, the last part of the president, because president has outlined several issues which I agree with him. But how to implement these issues needs a practical approach. Needs a practical approach. And then finally, on the speech of the president, I have seen the last part is mentioning free, equitable, and fair elections. This is where my interest was. I agree with the president that we need transition to democratic system where citizens are able to elect. but our system currently cannot allow it. You have seen the greatest threat to our democratic system is the issue of civic and political space. You have seen a member of the SPLM himself, this Callisto, the former mayor, former mayor of Juba City. This former official was arrested because he has spoken on issues affecting his own people, issues of land grabbing. When are we going to talk about them? And the party like SPLM-IO does not allow their own members even to speak within the party. So the members like the former mayor, who is now under a house arrest somewhere, was arrested because he spoke against the ills of land grabbing. And this one, we are standing with him. We should not allow our citizens to be robbed. We did not liberate the citizens in the country to be brought here and to be robbed. We must protect their rights.
Bol Joseph, representing Juol West County under the South Sudan Opposition Alliance, saw the reopening of the parliament as an opportunity to address the economic challenges facing the country.
The whole country has been waiting for the parliament to open so that we could also work on the laws related to elections. Elections cannot be carried out without legal institutions doing their part related to elections. This is very important now that there will be supplementary budgets for the three institutions, the NEC, which is National Electoral Commission, the NCRC, and the PPC. They have been crying, there is no budget, there's no budget. Now, the next sitting should be talking about tabling the budgets for the three institutions.
As discussions progress in Parliament following the opening session, it's becoming obvious that while the President's efforts are known, there is a growing demand for more concrete actions to tackle South Sudan's difficult economic and political challenges. In coming days, the parliamentarians are expected to focus on addressing and analyzing President Kiir's speech within the parliamentary framework. Reporting for ITV, I'm Donna Emanya.
Thank you so much, Isaac Tieng, for getting in to complete the introduction and playing that clip from iRadio. To our viewers, I apologize for the inconvenience. I'm not feeling well, and sometimes we may experience such incidences. Yeah, to begin with, we have to get into the discussions. And to our members, let me remind you, the viewers, we will not take long. We're also mindful about your time and the things that you are doing. Our interview or discussions will be within the time frame of 30 minutes or 45 minutes. And if internet allowed our guests to articulate their agendas for the sake of our viewers. Honorable Bol Agau and Honorable Juol Nhomngok, they're here with us, and two members who are supposed to join them on the same platform are not yet, but they will join us along the way. As you have heard it from Isaac Tieng before, they were actually discussing and dissect the speech of the president. In other countries, Honorable Bol Agau, the speech of presidents is always scrutinized by the parliaments and enact some of the key points in the speech of the president to be the policies of the country. Kindly, can you give us your view in regard to the speech of the president, which was delivered during the opening of these sessions in the parliament? While after you finish your remarks, then I think Juol Nhomngok will be with us to give his opinions in the same regard. Just general overview before we go into the details of elections, before we go into the detail of youth employment, before we go into the details of economic recovery. Thank you so much. Take the floor, Honorable Bol Agau.
Yeah, thank you very much, Majuk, for a well-moderated time for discussion. So the internet has been fluctuating, and Honorable Juol Nhomngok is on. We are going to share what I might say here. You might say it in a different tone, but we are talking about the same thing. Thank you, the Lake State Media, for having us, and especially having me this afternoon. It has been postponed in the last 1 week so that we do it today, which we waited for eagerly because we wanted our people to hear us, the public, to know our position. Not to waste a lot of time, I would like to say that I am so glad that I have this opportunity to talk generally on the speech of the president. The speech of the president was the best of its kind because it has captured the most of the priorities. It captured the private sector. It captured the government sector. It captures also some of the practices that would bring together the private sector and the public sector, so that a general system is is cut out from the speech, which will actually enable the country to regain economically, because the crisis have not only hit the government, the economic crisis, they have engulfed the whole country, including the private sector, whereby if the investors are running away, the biggest burden is on the government that has to look for opportunities for employment. If an insecurity is creating investors to run away, it creates more burden on the government to spend a lot of money to create space for those, to create spaces for the security officials to work where their activities are needed. Like almost the whole country needs to be secure. So it looks like we need a fortnight salary for the security organs, all of them, for everybody to do their function effectively and efficiently. It is burdensome to the government. But because of a weak private sector, you also produce a weak government, as I would allude to what Dr. John Garang said. Creates a weak government. So this is exactly generally in the gist. This is what I could give you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Bol Agau, for summarizing and give overview in regard to the speech of the president, as you term as the best of its kind, because it has touched every part of the country, the challenges we are facing at the country, and even the way forward, which was about elections and how the parliament should operate. Honorable Juol Nhomngok, we apologize. The internet is not doing justice to you and not also to us and to our viewers. But we need to cooperate with it because we have no options. And your interest is to speak in the affairs of our country. And the viewers also want to hear your view. In regard to the remarks which you gave during the reopening of the sessions in the parliament, when you were interviewed by the iRadio, which was played earlier by the president of Lagos State Media, Isaac Tiampol, you mentioned several things and you agree with the speech of the president. Kindly, we will give you this chance, if internet allowed you, to give us your overview, like what Honorable Bol Agau did, to give us your overview. We apologize, viewers, it has fallen off, but hopefully you will come back and join us shortly. Meanwhile, we will proceed with our discussions while he will be with us along the way, if internet will be gracious enough to give him time. Honorable Bol Agau, let's get into the speech sector. You are holding a very key committee and you are the chair that deal with the external affairs of the country or of the parliaments or of the government. And for that matter, anything that endanger the whole country economically, socially, and security-wise through the external forces, you will always have knowledge about it. And if the president speak, then you will always be keen to know what is happening. Kindly, can you give us your opinions on two aspects? Number one is the elections, which the president spoke that as the country we are ready to go for elections and we will have credible, free and fair elections by December this year. What is your take on that note? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I wanted to have some corrections on my title. I am an MP in the TNLA, and the external relations committee that I hold is from the party NDM, National Democratic Movement, where I am the chair of the External Relations Committee. I'm not the chair in the parliament. It is in my party that I hold that committee.
Good. Thank you for
Not to
that
waste time
correction. We
because I'm
apologize.
seeing,
Yeah.
yeah, not to waste time. I'm seeing Honorable Juol Nhomngok. I would like to talk on elections before he drops again. You know, elections are not parties. Elections are the end game of the RRCs. The agreement was to end with elections. So this is where, not to be as rogue as the others used to say, whether you like it or not, there must be an end of the agreement, and the agreement is ending with elections. Is a provision of the agreement. It is not the choice of the politicians or the political parties. Even if you see some of the political parties are supporting it, it is not that they are supporting it. It is the provision of the agreement, and the agreement is coming to an end. As a party, as NDM, not SOA, because within SOA, there are other political parties within SOA refusing to go for elections. But NDM, under the leadership of Dr. Lama Kolajawin, we have accepted to go for elections because it is the provision of the agreement. However, we have a very important position. Yes, for elections, but we as political parties, not individuals, must sit so that we agree on how to approach these elections, because these elections are special in a kind that they are the first elections the Republic of South Sudan are going to hold. The elections that we held in 2010 were elections controlled by Khartoum, controlled by Sudan. They were under a territory called Southern Sudan. But now we have a republic. And the election that we will have is the first of its kind. So our suggestion and our program that we have been working as a party, as NDM, for 7 full months, my chairman has been touching and knocking all the doors of political parties to agree
To our viewers, we apologize. Honorable Bol Agau is experiencing the internet issue. And for that matter, we will go back to Honorable Juol Nhomngok. Kindly, you said in the interview with the iRadio during the reopening of the session, you said you agree with the speech of the president on 2 accounts. Number 1 is the employment of youth. Number 2 is about elections. Kindly, can you elaborate more in regard to your agreement with the speech of the president? It is very unfortunate that the internet is not happy with us today. I don't know why, but we will find out. Maybe the network is weak currently in our country,
Yeah.
and we will be patient with it. President, I suggest you can drop Honorable Bol Agau so that he can come in again.
Yeah, here it comes up. Yeah.
You know, you know, this is one of the reasons we need reform, so that there is a strong, strong internet.
Of course.
So that such disruptions and and hanging in the middle of talking should be avoided. So these are those reforms that we were looking for. Now, with the elections, it has become clear. Even the government is in a position to accept that we have to sit before elections. All political parties, the parties signatory to the agreement, the parties that are outside the agreement but are in a position to vie for any political position, from the presidency, the governor position, the members of parliament, the commissioners. All these are electable positions, and these electable posts We need elections to be carried out. How to do this is what is now the problem. And that is why we want political parties to sit prior to the 2024 December elections.
All right. Honorable Juol Nhomngok, can you hear us? Honorable Juol, can you hear us?
I think he has frozen, so you can drop him to lock in once again.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you, President, and thank you, Honorable Bol Agau. Indeed, you mentioned very key points that the only thing that is remaining now is the process. How are we going to do the elections? And the agreement dictates that we should have an elections at the end of the interim period, or the transitional government rather. So in that note, you also need to elaborate more. What are the challenges, according to you as the Member of Parliament, that you need government to focus more within these remaining periods that will enable the country to transit to the elections? Thank you.
Thank you very much for this very important question. Generally, I spoke about the need that the parties have to sit. When the parties are sitting, they are not just sitting to discuss nothing. They are going to discuss first and foremost, the security situation in the country. The security situation in the country needs all of us, all the political parties, to address it. This will show to the people of South Sudan that they are going to vote their leaders in the most secure manner, because nobody will shoot you at the ballot box stations. When you are dropping your vote, you have to be secure. And this will start with the campaigns. Political parties should have committees of political parties moving together to different towns, to different areas in the country, so that it is seen that elections are not conflict-causing activity. Elections should be embraced by all, because they should not be causing conflict, whereby you will find a committee made up of SPLM, SPLM-IO, members of political parties of SOA, members from OPP, other political parties that are part of the country. Assume we are from Lake State. We have a rally, a common rally, whereby all these political parties have members. And then we talk. This one is also reconciliatory itself, by seeing a member of opposition, a member of SPLM, which is in having the 55% in the RT Gonu, moving together. This alone creates confidence that there will be no violence. That is one thing. That is security. Secondly, there are things that need more time. For example, the census. For us to have census, we need time and money. Now, the institute, the statistics bureau, has not been funded, and this is where you demarcate the territory for elections. Especially, for example, myself, I'm looking forward to be a candidate for NDM, contesting territorial constituency, Ural West, to come to the parliament in the next elections. But the demarcation has not been done, because there must be census, and maybe Ural West can have two constituencies by this time, due to the population growth. The last census, 2008, might have underestimated, or something happened. We need to know exactly, after almost 20 years, what is the population there, and how can we don't have to inherit what was Sudanese. We should hew out from our own as South Sudanese. One, states that we have accepted to be our states, because we are now under 10 states, and 10 states are what the government from the north created for us. We have inherited constituencies which were for Southern Sudan. South Sudan needs its own constituencies according to its population and according to its geographical demarcation. That alone needs time. The NEC, National Election Commission, it is recently, they said they got some of the money, which was a very good statement because PPC chairperson was talking that they got sufficient money to carry out electoral activities, which is not true. But the NEC chairperson clearly said that they got some money, which means their activities can start. NEC needs a lot of work, and that work needs time. So this is the third part of it, whereby the institutions carrying out elections, they need time, and this one is technical. It will not be political parties deciding what time can be taken, like the example of SPLM-IO and SSPM of Hussein Abdul Baghi talking of they need extension for 24 months. This is too manual, and the political parties had a roadmap of the similar 24 months. The people of South Sudan are tired of transitions. It is this transition after this transition, interim after interim, and people need to be given back power so that they elect their leaders. The third, which is PPC, the PPC is the PPC chairperson. He's talking a lot and doing little. You know, my party went to PPC to look for registration forms. Our members need to be registered so that we compile the requirements for registering a political party. You find the chairperson has not even designed the form for filling. Thinking that there was no money, we kept quiet. But now that they have, according to him, he has sufficient fund to do everything. He should be ready with all the forms that are required for registering a political party that wants to vie for any elective position in South Sudan. And this is one of the most important exercise in political parties. We cannot go to elections without political parties registered. If we are not registered as a NDM, what will I use as a political parties for vying for Juol West territorial constituency? That means there's another technical time. We need to know from the PPC how much time do they need. And these are going to be discussed in the political parties conference. And that is why NDM and other political parties, including the SPLM, have seen the importance, the significance of why political parties must sit to decide on how to approach these elections. These elections will be approached according to the defined and according to the technical advice given by these important institutions. Now coming to the fifth part of it, the NCRC, the National Constitution Review Commission. This is another time requiring institution. The constitution that will be used for going for elections in this country should not be a transitional constitution. It should be a constitution that ushers in a new government that is not called interim government or transitional government. It must be the government of the people elected under a constitution. So this is another technical time. It must be estimated by NCRC how much time is required for a permanent. I don't want to use the word permanent because I've never seen a permanent constitution. The constitution always has a leeway for amendment. And for a constitution of the people to be made, the constitution making process is ongoing, but it is not an event, it's a process. It must involve the people. We must talk to the people on ground. This is your constitution. They must also include, they must have something that they call part of their contribution in that constitution. So the fifth part of it is very important because you cannot have a government elected under a transitional government to come and assume power using a permanent constitution. So these challenges are very important, and they need also to be addressed in that setting.
Thank you so much, Honorable Bol Agau. You have mentioned some of the challenges that are facing or that might be obstacle to the elections process. And you have actually defined clearly on how the government should approach them. The first one is about the constitution making, which 60% lies in the parliaments where you belong. And the whole country or the citizens are looking up to parliaments to make sure this issue of constitution is addressed. The second issue is about the census, which fall under the South Sudan National Bureau of Statistics. And these people should also need finance in order to carry out their activity. And then the Electoral Commission body, then the PPC, which is the Political Party Council. It is sad for the whole office to say it, we don't have finance to design the form. As long as you have computers, you have skills people, you design it and then you print, give it out. But what does it mean if the chair said we don't have finance to print the papers? Is it the finance to facilitate the designs of the paper or the form for the political parties to register? Or is it the finance to manage the office affairs or to do the registration of the political parties? Kindly, can you be clear on that?
You know, we went to PPC as NDM. We sent a delegation to get the requirements for registering a political party. But we found them not having an approved form. There is a form that you should be issued by the Political Parties Council for registering your members. There is a requirement for political parties. If you want to register, you must have at least eight states and 8 states plus and 3 administrative areas, 500 each. So it means if you want to register and you have 500 from Lake State, they have to be registered on the forms of the PPC. The forms as we speak, they have not been designed. The council did not sit to design the form. The council did not even sit to have a code of the rules guiding their work. So there was an assumption that they did not have money. But 2 weeks ago, you heard that the chairperson of PPC was bragging that they have sufficient funds to run the elections. Political statement it might be, but we need it turned into an action. Let us see the required documents present in the office of PPC so that we can pick them and fill them so that we register our political parties.
Thank you so much, Honorable, for clarifications on that note. Kindly, if all these things are not put into place before the elections or before December, considering the time frame, and we are all aware elections is the process, and if it is the process, it needs enough time for all these things to be put into place. Now we are in April and we are moving to the month of May, and we are left with less than 6 months, if I'm not wrong. If all these things are not in place, what will be the option for the government? Considering other political parties said we don't need elections now, we need another extension of 24 months, which is 2 years' time. And the example is IO. It is unfortunately that the Honorable Juol Nhomngok under the IO is not here with us because of internet. He would have been in a position to answer those questions. But according to you, as the member of parliament, what is another options or another window if this window of elections is impossible? Thank you.
You know, whatever is happening is going to vindicate those parties that are asking for extension because every day is a delay. And weirdly, you find out the only party that is allowed to go for campaigns is the party wearing the red. any other party, you find issues happening. Like I said before, we need to team up as political parties to create confidence in our people by going as groups of parties going for campaigns. Why? Because the incidents like in Awil, where the SPLM-IO were humiliated and almost causing chaos in Awil town, was revenged in Panjak and Lankan, where the t-shirts, the red t-shirts of SPLM were burnt, which is a very bad sign that you cannot have elections in such an insecure situation. We need to build confidence in our citizens so that the voters don't see themselves as enemies. They should see themselves as citizens of South Sudan, selecting their leaders, electing their leaders, picking from the very best of their leaders who to lead them. On this delay, it is squarely on the SPLM, which has the majority and as the function of moving things, because the president has been given all these functions by the agreement. Because of his incumbency, he is the only person that could announce the decrees, because Riek Machar cannot sit alone and decide and makes his decrees. Hussein Abdel Baghi, whatsoever power he has, does not sit alone and he says the decree he reads, appointing his own people. The same to Rebecca Nyandeng, though she has joined the SPLM now. They don't have those monopolies of saying, I have 2 ministers, I will sit, make my decrees and announce this. I have this function in the agreement, I will sit and make an announcement creating this activity. Everything is in the hands of the president, and it is upon him to decide when is he going to make this move, when is he going to call for political parties to sit. It is also solely on him. The good thing, there are moves by IGAD, because this sitting was accepted even by the SPLM-IO, and they wrote to IGAD by saying they are in acceptance, but they need a mediator, and there must be a mediator for this sitting. So let's see if time cannot allow, something might come out, because you cannot create a vacuum. There must be a government in place, though it is said a government of 6 months extension or something. It will be extension to compromise on other things. Why? Because there are so many challenges, including the IDPs, including the refugees. You know, repatriation, voluntary, it might be, but some activities within the country are used to lure, to create confidence in a refugee person, so that they could think, oh, the country is coming back to normal, there is security, even there are some business activities, I might find a job and I will start working again like before. Then this is how they return. We will not just have vehicles and go and pick them like football fans that went to watch soccer in Uganda, in Ethiopia, in say in Kenya. Then we say there are buses that have come to carry people back to South Sudan. No, the choice is theirs. They might come, they might not come, and they need also to be registered for voting. Now that NEC, the NEC, the National Election Commission, has started voter registration. It is starting in June, yes. But there are those of you, including the diaspora, you might have a choice. You want to come and vote for me? You want to come and vote for your governor? You can excuse yourself from your work for 2 weeks of elections. You come and register. Then you go back when elections are on. You come for 2 weeks. You do your voting. You go back to your country of asylum. But you have voted your leader. When anything happens here, you say that was the leader I voted for.
Thank you so much, Honorable Bol Agau. Indeed, the diaspora community, South Sudanese, might also have that absolute right to request the Electoral Commission to give them some polling stations in their respective countries, like what other countries normally does through their embassies, so that it can ease their process of voting. And I think that one
Exactly.
can also help the candidates and for them also
I'm in
to
agreement.
vote freely. Yeah, thank you so
I'm
much.
agreement.
Let's move to the last topic that we will end our discussions, which is the youth employment. This was captured in the speech of the president, and many youth are celebrating that. And when you look at the degrees the president has made for the last few years, from last year to this year, you could see that what president is saying is exactly being implemented, even if it's not at the rapid pace, but is moving slowly. What is your take in that regard?
This is a very important topic, and to give you a hint, I have already written motion in the parliament, and it is already signed, and I'm sure I'm going to table it because it is important. This is where you pick up where the president starts, and you pick up so that you work. The president does not have to follow up everything that he says, but there are institutions that should pick them up and start working on them, like the Ministry of Youth. Now, my take on this, I would like first to appreciate the president. Why? Because you have mentioned the decrees that though the former one, the Minister for Finance, did not perform to the best of our expectation as youth. We are seeing a war might come up with a better way of representing us as the youth. The best young man who is performing very well now is the young man in the Ministry of Sports. You could find Honorable Joseph Gang is doing his part, and to the extent that there is a youth representing us there. Now, generally, on what I have in my motion, I wanted the jobs that are taken by the foreigners, the menial jobs, for us to take them first. In Juba alone, you find almost 3,000 hotels. And those 3,000 hotels, the receptionists are foreigners. The accountants are foreigners. The logisticians are foreigners. The plumbers are foreigners. The waitresses are foreigners. And the face of the country cannot be represented by a different person. The face of the country is in the reception of a hotel. If you go to Pyramid Hotel as we speak, Pyramid Continental Hotel, you will find 2, 3 South Sudanese, and you find 2, 3 again different countries, either Ugandan, Philippine. You find from like this Portuguese, and these people are they have their countries they represent. The face of the country is seen from the reception of a hotel, and a hotel is a tourist attraction item. It is our relations. It shows that South Sudanese has also beautiful faces. A young man with a nice face at the reception, a beautiful woman with a very beautiful face in the reception, shows that this country has beautiful people. We are not ugly people, so that we are represented in the reception by a waiter, a waitress. You have to come from. Do you have to be taught? There is no school
maybe because
to
we
teach
are
you how
blue.
to serve.
Maybe because we are
The
blue, as
plumbers.
saluted by President Museveni.
Yeah, we have to turn that blue into the color that he thinks works. The fact that we are not also accepting this manual work, thinking that I will get married, Abuzujuana, Rajilindu, Ajat, Shunu. I am coming on this when my motion is read on the table. I'm going live on all the media so that I tell our youth, it is what we do that makes our economy strong. It is an accountant who is a South Sudanese who will report to our National Revenue Authority with honesty. All these guys are assumed. Let me give you a very bad example. An Eritrean hotel run by an Eritrean accountant has some issues with the issues with accounting. Now what they will do, they will have 2 books. One where they record forged revenue and the real original, the income of the hotel is kept differently. Now we have a big problem. When the revenue collecting agencies are dispatched, say the city council, to take their Central Equatoria taxes, when they take the taxes of the city, they are given wrong books, and the right books are hidden. But the country is very rich, but corruption is even being performed in our own land by foreigners, and we are in acceptance of this. So this is a very important topic, and the president did well by mentioning it in his speech, and I appreciate him for that. I like him for that, and I stand with him for that because I am a young man and I support the youth, our youth, to take over their jobs from the foreigners. I am not against the foreigners. Even when we were fighting, we fought for 21 years. They hosted us for 21 years. We have hosted them for 18 years. They have sold everything here, the chapati, they are the hawkers in our market, the Darfurians own the shops. We want all salesmen of any investor to be a South Sudanese, so that a South Sudanese salesman in a Darfurian shop gets a salary at the end of the month. And if everybody gets a salary at the end of the month from the private sector, is that not easing the burden on the government? It is. It is easing that burden. And this is what actually are investors. Even if it means you have a single shop and you don't sit there as a Sudanese. A Sudanese is not a South Sudanese. Even in Khartoum, we don't do that. We don't open shop to make a parliamentary resolution. This is my goal, that all accountants, waitresses, waiters, plumbers, they have to create associations. And then through that association, you get a job. And we will do that when they are all registered in an association. If you have not been given recommendation by the association, you cannot be working in the hotel. And anybody given that license must be a South Sudanese. You cannot find a restaurant being waited, being catered for, like by a cateress or a caterer who is not a South Sudanese. So these are in my. The parliament will help me so that we ease the burden on the government, where everybody wants to work for the government and the government is overstretched. Like now, going 7 months, you are not paid, and you say you work for the government, and at the same time, you don't contribute to the taxes of the country because you are not paid. Now, who is holding the country at ransom? It is us who are refusing to work in our own private sector. So I have a lot to say on this, but because this, next time, look for us. And next time when you hear that I have tabled the motion, you have to look for me so that we expand on this. Thank you very much.
You are muted, Majuk. We can't hear you.
President, can you take over? There is emergency call here that I want to answer. Thank you.
It's all right. Thank you so much, Honorable Bol Agau. I have a question here from the Clubhouse. One South Sudanese member called Atangor has a question for you. Attack, please open your mic and you ask the Honorable your question.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much, Isaac and Ben Isaac, Brock, and everyone, Lake State Media, of course, and the Honorable Member of Parliament for coming and to talk to people of South Sudan. It's really important. So we really appreciate your time. But I just have some responses about some of the things that the Honorable said, and some of these are questions as well. One is regarding to the refugees. They seem like the government wants the refugees to come back. Members of Parliament wants the refugees to come back. But at the same time, they will say that the country is not secure to go to election. So how can you guys be advocating for the refugees who are outside the country to return to the country but yet you guys are afraid to go to election or to go to your villages and campaign because of the insecurity that exists in South Sudan. And the other question I had was, why do you guys want to write the constitution as unelected members of parliament, and also do the census? Because there's no reason that elected parliament cannot do those two things. And Bol, you mentioned about that you never heard of a permanent constitution, but a constitution, in order to implement a constitution, it has to be passed by through a referendum. You in parliament cannot just amend the constitution without passing or without taking those amendments to a referendum. And if you don't do that, you just change the constitution. That is illegal, actually. So I don't know if that's something you understand, or somebody just saying that there's no permanent constitution when a constitution change requires a referendum. The current constitution being written by unelected. I'm not even sure whether there's going to be a referendum to the people of South Sudan. The other question, or the other comment I had, was around the youth employment. Well, we have to be realistic about what's going on. There is no employment in South Sudan. We don't have, and again, it's so easy to say it's the foreigners who are taking all the jobs in Juba, the foreigners who are staying, have hotels. But are South Sudanese supposed to be working on hotels in Juba, and that's it? What about the other jobs that are in factory jobs? Where are those factory jobs? There's no factory job because we are not building dams to create electricity and even to hold water so that the floods will be prevented, right? And that will boost the production of food in the country. And the reason why we're not building the dams is because Egypt had bribed you guys in government with generators, and you can never build a country. You can never build an economy back on the back of a generator, petrol generators. It's ridiculous. And even the idea to create association for people to work in hotels. I mean, guys, this is low class or low end jobs. You don't need that much, education. These are labor. I mean, skills. It needs definitely skills. But to say that you need to have this part of an association, you're basically creating a cartels, and which is really, really sad. And again, going back to, why don't you guys create electricity? Why don't you guys bring electricity to the country? Why are you guys begging Uganda to buy electricity from Uganda? Why is Russia investing $1.4 billion into South Sudan to build five dams in South Sudan? Why aren't you guys doing that? Why aren't you guys doing that? Why aren't you guys investing in the country? You guys are printing the money in the country to be able to. In fact, you guys are actually the one who are actually paying these foreigners. An example is the fuel. The Somalis. The government signed an agreement with them to pay them to keep the prices of fuel per liter at 2,000 SSP, right? And they pay the people who are importing into the country by printing money and giving them to these people to bring the food into the country, and subsidizing the foods and the fuel in Juba alone, not in the rural area of South Sudan, Honorable Minister or Honorable Parliament Member.
Just make it brief. Yes, you took it so long. Yes. You will forget some of the question you are giving.
Yeah, some of the questions might go in the process of talking. Yeah.
And I really appreciate you taking the time, by the way, to speak about this. Parliament and government, the money is being printed. Resources are being eaten in the country. Even the government employees have not been paid in 6 months. Where is the money exactly going? The cost of food has gone up by 250% in rural areas. 250% since January of this year. The people are struggling, and it's because of the action that you guys in parliament and in government are doing. I don't understand what you guys don't understand about what you guys are doing to make the life of the people of South Sudan unbearable. the restriction on foreign on exchange rate, now the cost of food has skyrocketed in the villages, and the government is helping the foreigners who are doing foreign, exchanging in Juba, because they say if you want to buy US dollars, it's going to cost you 100 or 200 now. They put it down to 180. It's going to cost you 180,000 SSP to buy $100. To buy $100, but it used to be 240. So you're actually helping the foreigners who have SSP and wants to get access to US dollars. You guys are helping them by doing that, and making the South Sudanese life even more bearable, because the cost of the goods did not go down when the government implemented that policy. Thank you so much, Isaac. I really appreciate you, and also the honorable member of parliament as well. Thank you so much for coming here.
All right, thank you so much, Attack. Honorable Bol, I know you are running out of time. We have skipped the time we framed with you. You just go ahead to answer this question. Thank you.
Yes, I'll give a general summary answer to Adak. Thank you very much. Adak, I would like to remind you that I'm Bol Joseph Agau, and I'm from NDM. Attack, yes, Attack. I'm Bol Joseph Agau, and I'm from NDM, National Democratic Movement, a political party chaired by Dr. Lama Kolajawin. You know, all what you have raised is very valid, and there's nothing that you have said which is not valid. You know, from the beginning of this CPA country that has become a country, it started with the Southern Sudan being an autonomous body. The president, I might call him unlucky person, because the first team that worked with the president, which later on became the accused of 4.5 billion US dollars corruption deal, where they were sent letters, did not work for this country. All what you raised, the electricity, the roads, the health sector, the education infrastructure, all these things, if there was a mistake where we started it wrong. So these processes of building a nation are too wide, and they need commitment and hearts that serve. But the first team of President Kiir, bad luck for him, became a team that were just enriching themselves. And now they are still very rich. They are moving around the world with a lot of riches. Some people own reserves. They own hotels in Ethiopia, in Uganda, in Kenya. They have property of real money, and they are moving.
What's going on? The internet is coming, and that's why we scheduled this show to run within 1 hour. So now the internet or network of Juba has came in again to strike Honorable Bol Joseph Agau. We lost Honorable Juol Nhomngok before, and the other the names that you see running here underneath in the how do you call in the Facebook and YouTube, they didn't make it. So Honorable, are you there? Wow, you fall off. All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Honorable Bol Agau, and all the members who are watching down, and those who tried before, MPs, and they failed to come in due to the internet problem, and all our viewers. We say that the show will end up here. Thank you so much, Comrade Attack, for your legitimate questions that you laid down, though Honorable didn't complete to answer them. In next time, we're going to bring them up again. All different parties in the Republic of South Sudan, we need them here to come and answer some of the questions that we concerned citizens in diaspora and back home can tell them because the parliament now there is being open. The topic of today, the speech of the president in the opening of the parliament last 2 weeks. So thank you. May God bless the Republic of South Sudan. May God bless all of you. Go in peace, and we'll catch up again. Thank you.
In Juba, Malatori, hey, yo, Ping William, in Benti, Walla Quaju, hey, wow, Ping William, in Malkal, Walla Pinyaram, Ping William.